Hi moms, today we're going to talk about pelvic floor strength without Kegels and why this is so important for moms. Let's talk about it. So recently on a consultation call, a mother asked me very honestly, if I'm not doing Kegels, how do I strengthen my pelvic floor? And this was such a good question, one that I relate to personally and professionally. Without Kegels, right? When we take Kegels out of the equation, after we've been drilled for so long that Kegels are the gold standard and the top tier for pelvic floor. When you take Kegels away, women are often left feeling lost and confused, discouraged, and really just uncertain about how do I move forward to strengthen my pelvic floor. Some of the reasons why Kegels might be a no for you, like they are for me, is that maybe your body is not responding to Kegels. Maybe you just don't like doing Kegels. Maybe you're finding that even with Kegels, it's just not enough. And it's possible that Kegels could actually be making your problems with your core and pelvic floor worse. So there's lots of reasons why Kegels just don't cut it for some mamas, lots of mamas, right? But then we're not giving an alternative. Most of the time, we are presented with Kegels as the choice, Kegels as the option. But let me ask you this, mamas. If all you're given is Kegels as an option or a choice, then how are you really choosing something? If there's just one thing, right? And that one thing is presented as what you need to do for your pelvic floor, then that's not really giving us a choice. It's kind of like saying either do Kegels or question mark. And that's how a lot of women feel. So I wanted to make this video so that I could assure you mamas that yes, you can strengthen your pelvic floor without Kegels. As a matter of fact, there's tons and tons of things we can do to strengthen our pelvic floors that don't include Kegels. One of them, this is just an example of one, is incorporating balance training and exercises that cause you to be unstable. And the reason why these types of exercises can be so beneficial and so helpful is because they take first a full body approach to the pelvic floor. You do not have to sit around Kegling all day to really target and make transformation to your pelvic floor. As a matter of fact, I found that when you incorporate the pelvic floor with all your other movements, you see really great results. So I was over on Dr. Bree's Vibrant Pelvic Health. That's her YouTube channel. She's a phenomenal physical therapist and a wonderful YouTuber. And she recently put out a video, Pelvic Floor Strength Without Kegels, a balance challenge mini workout, okay? And this video of hers really aligns with and speaks to what I am trying to convey here. There are many ways to address the pelvic floor that go way beyond Kegels. And when we can find ways to incorporate the pelvic floor with other movements, it's just a bigger bang for buck. It makes more sense and it prepares us for life. So balancing is great because think about it like this, mamas. Every time you take a step, every time you walk, that's a balancing act. Every time you lean over into your trunk to either put something in, get something out, balancing act. Even going from sitting to standing, you're balancing. Really, mamas, all day long, just in everyday life movements, balance comes into play. Now, whether or not we're doing it mindfully, purposefully, and with a good, strong, connected core, that's a different question. That's a different conversation altogether. But the truth is this. If we're going to really make change in the pelvic floor, we have to start doing exercises and exercise programs that incorporate the pelvic floor, that puts the pelvic floor right there with all our other movements. And I love balancing poses. Now, this doesn't have to be anything difficult like a full tree pose in yoga. It could be very, very simple balancing exercises. This is going to indirectly speak to the pelvic floor because the pelvic floor doesn't exist in isolation, which is why there's so much we can do to strengthen the pelvic floor that doesn't have to be just sitting around Kegeling all day. I love this video of Dr. Breeze because she really focuses on how you can maintain core strength, maintain pelvis and pelvic strength while being a little bit unstable and a little bit off center, because this type of training is going to carry over and translate into your everyday life. With all of those examples I gave you, that's how this fits in. So I want you to understand, mamas, when Kegels are taken away, it can feel confusing. It can feel disheartening, and we can feel lost and overwhelmed and really unsure of what to do next. If you're liking this content, I want you to go ahead and click below in the description and also in the top pinned comment for your free guide, 7 mistakes keeping the core and pelvic floor from healing and what you must do instead. I created this guide. It's a mini video training series that really speaks to the mistakes that I've seen and experienced myself when it comes to healing core and pelvic floor. I created this guide for mamas dealing with weakened core, pelvic floor leaking, or prolapse, and you want to get started on the best path. So go ahead and look down below in the first comment. There's a link there, or click the link in the description. So now what, right? What is the conclusion here? Number one, mamas, I want it to be made clear. Kegels are not for everybody, and if they're not for you, it ain't your fault. It ain't nothing you did wrong. Number two, you can absolutely strengthen the pelvic floor without having to do Kegels. There's tons of exercise. Matter of fact, any exercise can be made into a core and pelvic floor exercise simply by the way you align your body, by the way you breathe, by the intention and attention that you bring to the exercise. And number three, mamas, balance is a wonderful way to have a full body approach to the core and thereby affecting the pelvic floor, because the pelvic floor is connected to the inner thigh muscles. The pelvic floor has connections even all the way up to the arms. And believe it or not, mamas, we can even affect our pelvic floor by working on exercises in our feet, our legs, calves, back, neck, because it's all connected. No, you don't have to sit around doing Kegels all day. Yes, you can strengthen your core and pelvic floor without Kegels, and it will be wonderful if you checked out Dr. Bree's video, and as a matter of fact, do that exercise along with her. Follow along and see, can you feel your core firing? Can you feel your pelvic floor engaging? You are strengthening your pelvic floor. It's just not doing it with the Kegels. All right. So what I want you to do right now is click right here and go ahead and watch this next video so you can get even more information, tips on how to really address your core and pelvic floor.